until tomorrow and the rain starts again. Let's turn to page 62. I love to tell a story. Think of this song. Every time I think of this song, I think Preacher Dave because it's like one of his favorite songs. Yeah. I love to tell the story of unseen things above, of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. I love to tell the story because I know 'tis true. It satisfies my longings as nothing else can do. I love to tell the story, 'twill be my theme in glory, to tell the old story of Jesus and his love. I love to tell the story, for wonderful it seems, than all the golden fancies of all our golden dreams. I love to tell the story, it did so much for me, and that is just the reason I tell it now to thee. I love to tell the story, 'twill be my theme in glory, to tell the old story of Jesus and his love. Last verse. I love to tell the story, for those who know it best seem hungering and thirsting to hear it like the rest. And when in scenes of glory I sing the new song, 'twill be the old story that I have loved so long. I love to tell the story, 'twill be my theme in glory, to tell the old story of Jesus and his love. Thank you. Have a seat. Okay, does anybody have a spoken prayer request? Once or twice? We got an unspoken request, something you want to pray about, not to mention out loud? Okay. Got a couple of requests. Mary Burke passed away, if I got this right. Mary Burke passed away, and then Katrina's good friend's dad, Steve Parsons, passed away. Um, let's see. Also, want a special thank you to whoever cut the grass. Did one of you guys cut the grass? Did you do it? Did you do it? Michelle, did you cut the grass? Your mower's broken. Okay. So is Jared's. Okay. All right. Special thank you for whoever cut the grass. All right. Anybody else got anything? Anybody got testimony for good prayer? God's blessing in some way. You want to tell everybody about it? God been good to you in any way? You want to tell everybody about it? All the usual ways? Very good. Glad for that. Yeah. Right. Thank you, stand for right. We talked about that last Wednesday night, I think. There's always going to be somebody standing beside you. But if not, said that we said Benedict said, if not, it's always with you there. Anybody else? Jerry, we lead some prayer. All right, let's get right into that in the Bible. Book of Daniel, chapter 4. Daniel chapter 4. We're going to read a couple verses from chapter 2 and chapter 3, but we're going to teach from Daniel chapter 4. I'm glad for each one of you here tonight, families, those that are watching from home and listening from home. And I get comments back. I called somebody yesterday, and we would hear. It's good to hear your voice. We wouldn't hear you every Sunday, and it's good to hear comments that we get back from our brothers in Christ that can't come out or don't come out because of the band. And I don't know if we would be in trouble if everyone showed up. I mean, if that whole church family showed up and everyone came sat in the auditorium, I don't think there'd be any police in here telling us we had to go home or writing down. I think our county would be writing down license numbers and sending out tickets or anything like that. But it's it's just abiding by the laws of the land and saying, oh, okay, everyone stay home to keep people safe. And my understanding that if this shutdown goes much longer, there's probably more illness due to the fact that people are staying home than there is from the coronavirus. We'll find out in the long run whether it was a good thing or not. Okay. We were talking about King Nebuchadnezzar and then Daniel and Shadrach. Last week we talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And God is always working people's lives. I mean, sometimes we can't see it. You may have a family right now, a family member, or a friend, or a neighbor, and you look at that person, you think, why are they so hard-hearted? I've got some friends like this and family. You think, why have they always been this way? But God is working on them, whether we see it or not. He's always in control, and He's always doing the right thing. So look at Daniel chapter 2, and look up this way for a second, and I'm going to read one verse, okay? Daniel chapter 2. We'll tell the story because I want to review part of the first 3 chapters of this, okay? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel were taken into Babylonian captivity, and they're brought in this college type thing, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has a dream, but he wants someone to tell him what the dream was, and no one can tell him what the dream is or the interpretation of the dream. And so Daniel goes and prays about it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they have a little prayer meeting about it. He goes in and see the king, and I want to read verse 20, chapter 2, verse 26 and 27 and 28. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that reveals secrets. The key part of that is there is a God in heaven. Nebuchadnezzar has religion. He's had religion all his life. When he changes Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's names in Daniel's name, he changed Daniel's name to Belshazzar, which the meaning of the name is Baal, protect the king. And I think Nebuchadnezzar's grandson has the same name, is given the same name as Daniel is in their language, in it's Chaldean language. That is Belshazzar is saying Baal, their God, asking their God to protect the king. That's why the king wanted to name that, I guess. Okay, so God's working in Daniel and working through Daniel to reach Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, look at chapter 2, verse 47. The king answered unto Daniel. This is Esther. Daniel's done all he's supposed to do. 247. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. So Daniel could tell him the dream that he had that night and the interpretation of the dream. Okay, so Nebuchadnezzar is getting close to this to realize where he says that your God is a God is God. Your God is a God of gods, small g gods. Okay, so and a Lord of kings. So he says you're something special about your God, but I don't know him. Okay, look chapter 3. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not bow to the idol that Nebuchadnezzar had raised up, and they were cast in the burning fire furnace. And Nebuchadnezzar looked into the fire, and he saw a fourth man walking in the fire. And he said, chapter 3, verse 25, he says, he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. Who's the Son of God? Jesus is. But how does Nebuchadnezzar know that? Charlie, how does he know that? Is the Bible written for he could read it? No. Something in his heart of hearts says, it's the Son of God in there with him. He doesn't know why he would even. I don't even think he understands why he would say that. Okay, but if there's a God, he's saying a God or a God of gods, or in chapter 2. So there's people that are atheists, believe there is no God, and polytheists believe there's many gods, and there's people that are deists that just believe there's a supreme power out there. It's part of the Alcoholics Anonymous thing that I recognize that supreme power, but they don't know who he is. And I think Nebuchadnezzar is coming from a place where he's maybe a polytheist, many gods, to where he's saying that there is just one God, and this God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and this God of Daniel is different than all the religions that we've all ever been taught. Remember when Paul went to Athens, and he said, and he saw all these statues made to different gods, and when Paul went there, Book of Acts, he started preaching to people. He said, I want to reveal to you the unknown God, because they had a shrine made to the unknown God, like there's another God that we don't know who he is, that is over all these other gods. And so Paul said, I want to show you who this God is that you ignorantly worship. You don't even know who he is. Okay? Now, chapter 4, verse 1. Now, let's review. We're going to write this is the story. I love this part of the story. I'd preach on this every 2 weeks if I could, but people get tired of it. But this is one of my favorite stories in the Bible. Why? Because it makes this guy go crazy. Okay? Chapter 4, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, and to all people. Now, he's doing the writing now. Okay? So God's used Nebuchadnezzar to write this story out, because he write scriptures, because he's now, in today's terminology, he's been born again. He knows who the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. Though he may have never heard who Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is, he knows who Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is. And he says, this is my story. I want everybody to know my story. I ask for testimonies all the time. That's really just, that testimony is just our story, what God's done for us. This is Nebuchadnezzar giving his testimony, okay? Nebuchadnezzar the king. Unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I want you to have a good life, peaceful. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God hath wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion from generation to generation. Look at this one. He's been brought up around people that have taught him there's a God for this, and there's a God for this, and there's a God for this, and there's a God for this. And then he says there's a God that has existed throughout all eternity, and will exist throughout all generations, and I want everybody to know who he is, because I just met him. Okay? That's what I did when I first got saved. The next day I went to work, told everybody what happened. I said, well, I don't know, I can't explain this, but I asked Jesus in my heart yesterday, and that's the way Nebuchadnezzar must be feeling at the time that he's writing this, because this is what happened to me. I want everyone to know what happened to me. Okay? Did you get that when you got saved? You want to tell everybody? Say, let me show you what happened. Okay? Okay. But John, it didn't happen to me that way. I don't remember getting, okay. It's vital. Okay, we'll get to this. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Okay, he's had dreams before. I have dreams too, but usually as determined by what I eat before I go to bed the night before. So Nebuchadnezzar has another dream. And in this dream, he sees a tree. Okay, we're going to read a couple verses. Verse 4. And I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in mine house and flourished in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid. And the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. So this thing bothered me, this dream did. Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Now he knows they can't tell him what the dream was, so he's going to tell them what the dream is. Okay? But they can't. Then came the magicians. Stop reading right there. Then came all these guys in, and they're supposed to be able to interpret his dreams, and they can't do it. And he knows they all lied to him before. They've been lying to him all his life, saying this is your interpretation. But it doesn't really work that way, since they couldn't tell him what the dream was the last time. Verse 8, but at the last, Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belshazzar, according to the name of my God, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee, tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. I think I want to read this whole chapter. We'll skip around and we'll jump back and forth. Thus were the visions of mine head and my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. And the tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached into the heavens, and the sight thereof unto the end of the earth. The leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. And the beasts of the field had shadow under it,
and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all the flesh was fed of it. And I saw in a vision of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven, and cried aloud, and said thus, Hew down the tree, and cut off his branches, and shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit, and let the beast get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's heart, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. That's pretty. Okay, here's the dream. Look at this way. Here's the dream. In his dream, he sees this tree in the midst of the earth, huge tree, beautiful branches, birds are flocking to it up in the branches, and cattle are grazing underneath the tree or finding shadows underneath the tree. Everyone's feeding off this tree. It's the greatest, it's a powerful tree. Then someone comes from heaven, a watcher or angel or something comes from heaven and says, cut it down. Put a ring around it. It could just cut the whole tree down. Leave the stump. Okay? And so he looks at Belshazzar, Daniel. He said, tell me the dream. And Daniel's quiet for a few minutes because Daniel's a thoughtful guy, very spiritual guy. But he's not real vocal, I don't think, most of the time. He's thinking about this thing and looking at the king, and God's telling him what it is. And the king looks at Daniel and says, stop. If this is going to hurt you, I don't want this to hurt. He looks at Daniel because he has compassion towards Daniel because Daniel means something to him. Daniel isn't quite ready to tell. Listen, I'm going to read this. I'm not really messing up the story. It's written so well. I want to read I want us to read it. Okay, here we go. Verse 19. Then Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. And the king spake and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation trouble thee. Belshazzar answered and said, My lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation therefore to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest, which that grew and was strong, whose height reached into heaven, and the sight thereof was all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and there was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, whose branches the fowls of heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king. Thou art grown become strong. For thy greatness is grown and reaches unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. Stop reading right there, look this way. So Nebuchadnezzar tells him the dream. Okay, there's this tree, the branches, the birds, and all that. And Daniel's quiet for an hour and thinking about it. How's he going to say this to Belshazzar, to Nebuchadnezzar? He said, here's the dream. The dream's about you. You're that tree. And you built it. You have this great kingdom. He doesn't say you built it. You've grown to this. You have this powerful kingdom, most powerful king at that time, most powerful king in all the world's history. Okay, for one man to rule over all this land, all these nations from Egypt, northern part of Egypt, all through the Middle East and over into Persia or Iraq and Iran, that direction. Okay, and Daniel said, "You've got all this." He said, "But something's going to happen to you, and you're going to be left a stump, just like the tree's going to be cut down. The dream that you're having is about you. The dream that you had is about you, and this is going to happen." And Nebuchadnezzar would have to believe Daniel because Daniel was the one that told him what he dreamed before, told him what his dream was. Remember, not just interpreted the dream. Daniel, and when Nebuchadnezzar looks at him, he said, "This is the only guy I know that the holiness of God dwells in this guy, different than anybody else." And we went through this before. Daniel was different than anybody else, and we had the Holy Spirit abiding in us. But when Nebuchadnezzar looks at Daniel, he said, "I've never met anybody like this in my life." I mean, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were in the fire last week. Remember, they were in the casting the fire, and Jesus walking around with them, and there's something different about them too. But this guy, okay, he speaks. It's like Moses speaking. And I don't even know if Nebuchadnezzar knows who Moses is. Okay. So he said. So Daniel gives them a warning. Okay. because this is going to happen. Okay, you're going to be cut down 7 times. It's going to happen. 7 times. It's going to pass over you. What's going to happen to you is going to happen for 7 years, and this is a nightmare for you. Okay, and Daniel gives him a warning that he can make it a little bit easier on himself if he will listen to Daniel. Okay, let's look at a couple verses. Why is this going to happen? Okay. On verse 24 and 25, because this is what Daniel's giving the interpretation. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is coming upon my lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. Then you'll be sleeping out in the field with the cows. And they shall make thee eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven. Even and 7 times shall pass over. That means you will sleep outside on the ground for 7 years. Okay, and 7 times shall pass over thee till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. This is what this is all about. Daniel's telling Nebuchadnezzar, you had this dream because God wants you to know you've gotten this kingdom, but you didn't build this kingdom. I gave it to you. God gave this kingdom to you. He's saying you need to acknowledge who he is. Okay, and Nebuchadnezzar's listening to Daniel because he's always listening to everything he says. Let's read on. Okay. And whereas they command to leave the stump of the tree, the roots, the kingdom shall be sure unto thee. That means you're not going to lose the kingdom. And after that, thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. This is going to happen. You're going to know that God is God and the heavens do rule. Okay. Wherefore, O king, this is the warning that he gives him. Let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. Stop reading right there. Okay, you're going to lose your marbles. You're going to be sleeping outside with cows and eating grass. You're going to lose everything you have except your life, and you're going to be outside for 7 years. And I'm giving you this warning that you can lengthen your tranquility. You can make it just a little easier on yourself on this side before you go through this thing. If you'll do what I'm asking, what God's saying for you to do, and it's to take care of some people in a different way. Okay, care for people. They're not your subjects. You're ruling over them as if you are set yourself up as God, and you're not. Okay, and God wants you to know that you are not God. And you made this 90-foot tire image that for everyone to bow down to, and you are still not God. And that golden image is not God. And the Baal that you bow down to is not God. God is God. And Daniel said you can make it just a little easier on yourself if you get this. Well, Nebuchadnezzar listens to him. Okay. How bad could it be, right? You ever hear a warning? Someone tell you about don't do something, and you say, how bad can it be? Ted told me yesterday. I called him just to laugh. If you're ever heavy burdened about something, just don't say anything. Just call Ted. He'll start laughing within 30 seconds, and it just changes everything. Okay. Yeah, I said it's been 6 weeks ago since we saw him, and he works AEP, works electricity all his life, right? So he put a box in their garage 4 years ago, never covered it up, never connected the wires together, never put a wire nut or tape over the end of the wires. I'll get back to that. Never finished up. Forgot it was a hot wire. It was was going to hook up another lamp or something in light in that room. Went to strip that wire. He said, bzz. It got to where the blade actually hit the wire, and he said, Bernie said, it's got black hand, black knife, and all that stuff. He's got it. And I knew not to do that, but I thought, it's not hooked up. No power in this thing. There's no power. We know these are these outlets have power going to them, right? Dave Kansdorf would know if there's one. You can't turn off that light out there, so you go play with the switch. He actually took the switch out, so you can't play with the switch anymore. So he knows there's no power. Ted would have known. He knows. But just what that. Okay, you ever get a warning about something and you think, and you forget about the warning, right? There's certain places where I drive that I know the cops are sitting. I texted Jared the other day and I said, the cops are out everywhere. State troopers, the governor's trying to get the money back that they're losing out of coal severance tax and everybody's income. But there's one day last week they were everywhere. I mean, it seemed like every state trooper or county deputy was on the road with a radar gun one day last week. I thought, this is crazy. And I still know if I get a ticket, it's going to be $150 or $200. And I still know. I look down, still back off. You know, because it's just automatically just because the vehicle I drive runs better at some speeds than speed limit. Okay, so and you just know I'm going to get caught. Okay, but that day, huh? Yeah, it runs better at this speed. Gets better mileage at 85 than it does at 70. Anyway, but you know, okay, so Nebuchadnezzar knows. He knows what Daniel said. Well, this came to pass. It came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar, verse 28. At the end of 12 months, so a year later, he forgot all about this dream that he had. He heard it. It's back of his mind of what Daniel told him. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, is not this the great Babylon that I have built for the house of the king? By the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty. Do you think he's learning humility yet? Did he learn anything when he cast Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire? He didn't learn anything. He acknowledged their God, but he hasn't gotten there yet. Okay? And he walks into the palace and he says, I built this. Look what I've done. Ain't that great? Okay? I am so good. While the word was in his, verse 31, I love it. It's kind of like one place in Scripture where someone was eating up with worms while they were speaking. It's kind of like, oh, that's bad. You think it's like the Mummy movie or something. It's kind of, they consume him while he is speaking. Okay. While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee eat grass as oxen 7 times capacity. Know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So this is not Daniel speaking. There's a voice coming from heaven saying, look, king, you didn't listen. You just lost it. Okay? So the next 7 years, the kings, people come, ambassadors come from other countries come to see the king. So where he's at? Why he's laying out there in the yard with the cows. Okay? He's over eating grass with the cow. His hair grew long like eagle's feathers. Okay? And his fingers were like claws. Like fingernails grew like claws. I seen that guy one time uptown. Okay. That happened to the king, the most powerful king in all the earth, and God says, I'm allowing this to happen. I told you it was going to happen. You should listen to me. Okay? I told you it was going to happen, and I knew what you were going to do. Okay? Okay. So Nebuchadnezzar wants to tell this story. This whole chapter is Nebuchadnezzar telling the story of what's happened. For 7 years, he's laying up there in the yard. Okay? Walking around on all fours eating grass. Till thou know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of man. The purpose. God wanted him to acknowledge who he was, not to say, I did this. Look what I've done. Look what I've done. This kingdom is mine. I did this for my majesty. And then God said, I gave it to you. And I sent Daniel to tell you that I gave it to you. I just picked you out and said, here, I'm going to give you this. Okay? It's not that you built the kingdom, and you need to acknowledge that I built the kingdom and gave it to you. And Nebuchadnezzar does after this happens to him. Okay. Judgment Day, basically, Judgment Day has come. So, and he gets his, 7 years later, he stands up, trims his nails, cuts his hair, gets the matted beast stuff from the field out of it, and his mind comes back. The trees, the stump of the tree is still there. Okay, and God took the kingdom from him and gives it back to him. Okay. And from this day forward, Nebuchadnezzar is going to acknowledge God. Okay, he's going to know who God is. He knows that God gave him this. Why would God do that? Is there any reason? Why would God choose out Nebuchadnezzar and say, "Okay, I'm going to let you have this, and I'm going to take you through all this"? Why? Huh? To humble him? Okay. You think it humbled him by him out there eating grass? Okay. I ate grass before playing football, face down. Okay, but you think it humbled? All right, it humbled Nebuchadnezzar. Why would Jared, why would he do that? Why would he pick out Nebuchadnezzar and say, I'm going to make you king and I'm going to take it all away from you and give it back to you? I'm going to take your mind from you. You know anybody, I can say this without saying something like that, wrong thing. Some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life lose it. I think there's a reason for that. They lose their sharpness, capacity. Okay? Using Nebuchadnezzar as an illustration, the guy says, I'm going to take this from you. One of the greatest preachers I ever heard was named Tim Lee. Preached out of a wheelchair. Okay, you ever heard him preach? Nobody heard him on tape. I've never given his illustration before. He set records as an athlete, track star. His dad was a Baptist preacher in Oklahoma where he grew up. And he set records as a track star. But joined the Marines. He went by this poster one day. Vietnam War was going on, and he said he saw this sign that the Marines are looking for a few good men. He said, I didn't know who the rest of them were, but I figured I was one of them. And he had this pride about it. You know, he's a good guy, child of God. He was saved. Okay, God took his running days away from him when he stepped on linemen in Vietnam. He lost both of his legs. Then God called him to preach and he had a great plan for him. But he had to humble him by taking his legs away from him in order to do that. If I get the whole story right, okay? He was not humble enough to humble me that way. Okay, then be humble on your own. You don't have to, right? Well, Brother John, what's that song? Song from the 70s. So, Lord, it's hard to be hungry when you're it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't remember who sang it. It sounded like a country song or something like that. Okay. Okay. So I probably shouldn't even have that in my head, but that song came up. Okay. Jesus came to seek and save that which is lost. That means he'll do anything to get somebody to repent. There's no boundaries he won't cross other than boundaries of right and wrong. But in righteousness, he'll do anything to get them on their knees. Well, really? He put his disciples in a boat to go across a storm of a sea to get to the other side where a maniac was, would strip his clothes off and put him in chains. And he said the maniac was there, maniac of Gadara, and people had bound him because the neighbors were scared of him. He broke the chains and ran off and was running naked, staying in the cemetery. Okay? And what Jesus said, what's your name? He said, my name is Legion, for we are many. Man, if I was, Peter, James, or John, I'd be hiding behind somebody else. With that guy there, okay, we got the wrong guy. Okay? Jesus crossed the sea to get to that guy. That is worth it. Right? He died on the cross for that guy. And for you and me. To say, I'll do anything, put the right way. I will do anything to get you. God's not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. To get you to repent. I'll take you to whatever level I have to take you to get you to see who I am, and you need to repent. And I'm talking to people in our auditorium, but the ones at home, or whoever. I will lift you up. I'll knock you down. I'll bring you to wherever you need to be till you acknowledge who I am. Okay? Well, we do, right? And the ones here tonight, we do. But there's times in our lives where we forget it. Okay? Or we'll go on without not even thinking of the one that we had back here. And say, okay. Not thinking about the comp we passed a few minutes ago. We got back up to 85 again. Jesus came to seek and save that which is lost. When he was walking with his disciples, passed through Samaria, he sat down at the well. Why? Because there's that one woman he had to reach, right? This one woman that he had to talk to that came out to the well. And she didn't come out when all the other ladies came out. She came out at noontime. And she got saved. He then went in and won everybody else to Christ. To come meet a man told me everything, all thing I've ever did. Okay, come see this guy just told me everything about me. Okay. If he was seeking to save that which is lost, if he'll let Nebuchadnezzar go through this to bring him to the point where he can use Nebuchadnezzar to write scriptures, if he can do this to Nebuchadnezzar to bring him to the point that Nebuchadnezzar will bring him glory the rest of his life, but what will he do through us, for us, to us, to get us in the right position where we need to be? And you think, what? Well, John, I'm right exactly where I'm supposed to be. I hope I am. What if he has to do something with me to change me to do something better? to be better at what I'm supposed to be doing, whatever it takes. There's a guy, I heard the story 30 years ago. He preached it. So there was a young man that went to an altar at a revival meeting, and on the way home, he laid his life on the line there for God. I want, whatever it takes, I want to serve you with my life. Okay. On the way home from church that night, he was in a wreck. He got hit by a drunk driver or something like that. It wasn't his fault. Didn't cause the wreck. He was wrecked. Was in the hospital for 30-some days before he passed. Okay. And you think, well, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. In that time period, you led 20-some doctors and nurses to Christ. Well, Brother John, I wouldn't want to go to heaven now. I mean, I got plans. That church, like, I got to finish painting the house. Okay, right? We're supposed to cook out tomorrow night. I can't go down. Even so, come Lord Jesus. But wait, we got graduation. Eliza, we got graduation next month. We'll get whatever it takes, okay, to get us where we're supposed to be. He did this to the king. Psalm 9, verse 17 says that the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all nations will forget God. And chapter 9, verse 20 says, put them in fear that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Okay? And God said, did this to Nebuchadnezzar, so everybody else around him would know he's just the man. He is just the man. He is not God. He's not made out of gold. He's just the man. People hold politicians in high regard. A lot of people worship them. They got statues to them. Okay, we got statues for our founding fathers, and we should. That's for what they did. The sacrifices they made. Okay, we're fine with that. There's people that have politicians or other people, movie stars, athletes, or whatever, that they idolize. Okay, we even have a TV show, American Idol, so we can idolize somebody, right? And it was all about like an idolize something. And God said, "Who do you idolize me?" Okay, and let all these other, I want everyone else to realize that they're just a man, even the person you think is the greatest person in all the world, okay? The one that's up on a pedestal somewhere in your mind, your heart. And God says, he's just a man. He's just a lady. She's just a lady, okay? What they help somebody. And God's using them as a tool. If God has used somebody as a tool in your life to get you here or to get you where you're supposed to be, you thank God for Him using them as a tool, but really, they're just a writing instrument or a pair of glasses or something in his hand. They're just he's still the potter. They are still just a clay being formed in his hand. So are you and I. No matter how big we get. Of course, I'm getting bigger with the stay-at-home thing. I think I gained 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. Okay. Okay. Any questions? God working in your heart in any way? He working on me. Okay? He's still working on me, the song says. He's still working on me to make me what I ought to be. Took him just a week to make the moon and stars, sun and the earth and Jupiter and Mars. And what loving and patient he must be. He's still working on me. He's still working on you too. Okay? Yeah, well, Brother John, I'm not a king. Maybe. I don't rule. You do. So married. Okay? God's placed you in one of his rooms, right? Placed you in a position of leadership in some capacity. Acknowledge him. Trust him. Let's pray. Any questions? We'll go. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. I pray your blessings. Use us for your glory. Use us whatever it takes that we can go honor and glory to you. Thank you for dying on the cross for us, saving our soul from hell, and a wonderful life you've given us, an opportunity you've given us to serve you. I pray your work in the hearts of our people, those who are with us tonight, the kids that are upstairs, the families upstairs, and those that are at home that are watching. I pray your blessings. Each household, Lord. We all have Nebuchadnezzars around us that are watching our lives, and we need to be a Daniel. We need to be a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when we go through the fires. I pray you'll use us for your glory, that we can lead others to you. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Thank you.